Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining the California STEAM Symposium. It is my pleasure to welcome you to Dolby On with our lead presenter, Simone Price. If you have questions for the presenters, we welcome you to share them in the chat. If you would like to join us on screen to ask your question, please use the raise hand feature and then turn on your audio and video on Zoom. We will try to get as many questions as possible. Thank you to all our sponsors for supporting us this year, especially our presenting sponsor, Chevron. We invite you to learn more about our partners in the sponsors tab on the platform. At the end of the session, we will share a survey link in the chat. Please take a moment and fill it out. We appreciate all the feedback, and you could win prizes by filling it out. And now I turn it over to our main presenter, Simone Price.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Simone Price, and I am on the social impact team at Dolby Labs. I'm really excited to be here today. Part of the work that we do at Dolby is to connect with the next generation of diverse innovators, and that really is done through many of our relationships, not only with instructors like yourselves, but also with our school districts and nonprofit partners in community. We work closely to connect with these organizations to ensure that the next generation of innovators and storytellers is not only familiar with not only Dolby, but other storytelling technologies, but so that we can have these long-term relationships in the community, because we ultimately hope that the students that are learning about these technologies and are developing their storytelling and multimedia skills, that they come to us and work at Dolby or work as business partners across the industry. So that's one of the many reasons why we are here at the California STEAM Symposium. It's really exciting to see so many people in the audience. There's definitely a few familiar names here. So again, thank you for showing up today. I'm really excited to have our partner, George Nie, here. He is an associate product manager on the Dolby IO team, and we have a few terms like Dolby IO and Dolby On that you may have gotten familiar with if you took a gander at our website, but if not, he's going to walk us through those. I'm really excited to have him on with us because he is one of many people at Dolby who started out as an intern and then was converted to join our team and is really leading innovation with many of our different products and new technologies. So George, thank you for joining us today.
Hi everyone, my name is George. I'm right now the Associate Product Manager at Dolby IO, which is the platform that powers Dolby On app. If some of you have been familiar with the Dolby On app, is all of the technology, all of the back end are originated from this platform called Dolby IO. I'm super excited to connect with all of you. It's just fun to talk with folks who are working in the education or ed tech space, because so many innovation is going on, especially after the last year. We have COVID and everything is remote for school, for students, for parents, and for educators. So I'm also here to learn from some perspective from all of you to see the future of media, music, education, how they intertwine together. So I joined Dolby. Before I dive into the presentation, I want to introduce myself a little bit more. So I joined Dolby this January, and I've been working remotely with the Dolby On team first as an intern. But above all, I am a very avid music explorer. I'm a big traveler, and I've been to 4 continents. As a result, I've been exposed to so many music content from so many cultures and genres. I also speak 4 languages, which means I can sing in 4 languages. Back to the time when I was still in undergrad, I sang as a bass in a first ever LGBT a cappella group in Hong Kong, where I performed in both Hong Kong and Tokyo. Sounds like I'm born to get a job related to music and media, right? But unfortunately, that's not the case. And I actually got quite a nonlinear career journey. So I graduated from New York University studying applied psychology, and I had a bunch of internship elsewhere, not in music at all. It's really until I really want to carve out my personal career, that is where I'm passionate about work I do, that I discovered Dolby, and I asked myself, why not start a career at the intersection between music, analytics, and technology product? And voila. Connecting these dots, I never thought I would be connecting related to each other. I got my dream internship first with Dolby On team, and right now as a full-time employee at Dolby IO. So here's an overview of my presentation today. I'm going to be talking about what is Dolby On app, how does it work, its key features, what are our goals, who is using it, and most importantly, how it can benefit the STEAM education, both educator and students, as well as our ed tech partners. And last but not the least, I'm going to talk a little bit about the magic behind Dolby On, which is Dolby IO. So by the end of today's presentation, if you couldn't even remember a thing about what I'm doing at Dolby, I still hope you remember that I'm happy to exchange some great music playlist with you afterwards. Cool. So first off, what is Dolby On? Well, it's a mobile app, of course, but our vision is really to democratize the creative process and open doors for creatives around the world with a very fast and easy way to record, share, and live stream their media content. So Dolby On app was designed by creators and for the creators. It helps you to unleash your creativity without the need for expensive technology or months of training. It's actually the only free recording app in the market right now, equipped with cutting-edge Dolby audio technology, and it's easy enough for creators at all technical level to use. You can pick it up and learn about it in 10 minutes, I promise. I don't know about you, but when I look at these figures that indicate the popularity of this app, I was just so proud and satisfied. We have just hit the milestone of 3 million downloads, and we have a monthly active user base of 400,000. And we were proud to get this 4.8 out of 5 rating on both Apple App Store and Google Play. So when I said it's made by creators and for the creator, it's true. Dolby On initially was just a small experiment conducted by a group of engineers and scientists who are themselves passionate musicians. They just knew what musicians really need. That's why the app became so popular right after we launched it to the global creator community. And of course, later on, it will expand to so many other communities as well. So here's a gift I want to send to all of you. I pick and choose some of the video clips that from our creators using Dolby On, who really were able to launch their musical career online. So I'm gonna show you one of the clip real quick. All right, here's one of my favorite.
Both of us just fine. And sure it'll be exciting. A gentle mist of lightning and never enlightening. But then you're going hiding. Then I want to be colored. Happiness is yours. And even if I hate that, I want us to get out. A gentle mystic climbing, and never really climbing. Really, I tried, then can't find the sun. Feels like
So just for the sake of time, I'm just gonna pause here, but I want to say for all our musical and non-musical creators, when they first experience Dolby On and then they share some content to their social media or to their friends circle, the impact is huge. They receive immediate like subscriber on their Instagram or like YouTube subscriber. So it's really due to the easy to use technology Dolby On provide. People can easily edit, process the content, share it to all kinds of social media or even live stream without hassle, without any efforts. So moving on, I'm gonna be continue sharing what's behind, how does it really work. Okay, going back to our presentation. So you might be wondering what really made our products so popular on a global scale? Well, it's all because we have made sounding great super easy. Here's how our technology works to achieve that. First of all, we enhance your microphone on your mobile devices, no matter it's an iPhone, Android phone, or iPad. We have analyzed thousands of songs and other media content to adapt your recording to the idea parameters of every music genre, so that when you are just recording, no matter you are recording using guitar or you are a vocalist or even you are a podcaster, you don't need to experience the hassle of like customize those parameters. We will pick and choose for you. Secondly, Dolby has its proprietary technology, dynamic EQ and stereo widening. This technology will give your recording tracks more tone and space. So when you're hearing back to the recording, you feel like you can experience the space of your recording instead of just like a mono sound. And of course, the most popular feature, noise reduction. We help you clean your recording. We help you remove the unwanted noise, such as when you're, especially when you're speaking English language, there are oftentimes a lot of S sound. So the de-essing feature really helps you remove those unwanted sounds. So imagine you are an educator who records a lot of like teaching instruction or lectures. Your speech content will be enhanced immediately, so that Dolby On will just let you to elevate only the sound you want. And last but not the least, even when you are doing a live sound capture for like live streaming or broadcasting, just like we're doing right now for Zoom, Dolby On technology will prevent the distortion of your sound, of your audio, so you always sound your best. If these terms sounds too confusing for Thursday afternoon, no worry, here are some more straightforward examples of Dolby On magics. These are our key features at a glance, and let me give you some examples of why high quality audio content is really beneficial to the STEAM educator and students. So for example, for educator, for some of you who are teachers in school, in the media, arts, and entertainment space especially, you can record high quality content for teaching instruction. You can request the student to record and submit their assignments in lossless audio and send it back to you. So you can grade their assignment based on the most, with the highest quality audio content. So you can give them valuable feedback on learning or improvement. And also as a teacher, I would imagine you would prefer providing a extracurricular program, such as like you help them to organize and broadcast like their concert or like the musical performance or their dance performance. You want to live stream, you want to broadcast with the best possible audio quality to the most widely used social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. No worry, Dolby On will take care of all of these. At the same time, for your students, if you want to make a recommendation on mobile apps or software for them to use for their day-to-day learning, you can recommend Dolby On because they can use Dolby On to work on meaningful community projects, such as we have a group of Native American youth group who are using Dolby On to do a documentary to cultivate, to preserve their own tribe, culture, traditions, etc. And we have podcasters from around the globe to use Dolby On to record podcasts and conducting interview with influential folks in their interested domain. And for students, it's also very effortless for them to practice and conduct rehearsal for their musical practices or vocal or instrument practices. Or students can also import their media content. They can edit the content, they can process the content right within the Dolby On, or they can export the high quality audio content to another app such as GarageBand, iMovie, Logic Pro, you name it. So this way, both educator and students can benefit from this small but powerful technology. And most importantly, it's free and it's available on all app store worldwide. No ads, you don't need to even sign up. So definitely a seamless process for anyone. And with the experience we had last year with COVID, seeing so many students and teachers doing remote education, it will be remiss of me not to emphasize the importance of having accessible technology in the STEAM education. First of all, for the device type, just like I mentioned, it's available on both Apple and Android, and it's working perfectly on a lot of old and low-end devices, especially on Android. So the interesting thing here is Dolby On, our current largest market, is actually in India. It has the most user base right there, and followed by US, Indonesia, Mexico, Brazil, and many other emerging markets. One of the shared characteristics among those emerging markets is that people tend to have less buying power, and they are not able to afford an iPhone and usually are using some low-end cheap Android devices. Dolby On work perfectly on those devices and solving their creative process by providing this solution. Next up, we have age. So building a technology product that is suitable for all age group is crucial for any type of education. For Dolby On, our user population spans a wide range of age group. We oftentimes receive feedback all the way from like high school students to like people who have retired, who are still making music. They all give great rating about this product. So in terms of age, it really has low requirement for technical savviness. Whoever takes this app will be able to learn it in a bit. And next we have, I would be elaborating what kind of creator type are using Dolby On app. But most importantly, for the people who are having visual impairment, art designers and engineering team are always ensuring any new feature, any UI element or button are always delivered in a way that is friendly towards the visually impaired populations. So accessibility technology, Dolby is nailing it. And if you, your student, or your customer belong to any of these categories, you are super lucky because these creator types are actually making up the most of our user base, which means our technology and business resources will be poured into improving the experience of these creator type. Just to name a few cases, band members are using Dolby On to rehearse together, or they're rehearsing separately and sending the lossless audio track to each other for review and feedback. Some singer and songwriter, they will record using Dolby On and send the recording to a music producer or upload to their favorite social media. Right now, the favorite platform of choice for Dolby On user is SoundCloud, which is a streaming service that allow creators to upload their creative work and promote their creative presence online. We also have a lot of use cases for non-musical creators. So we have a lot of YouTubers. You will be able, if you search in YouTube, you will be able to see a lot of creators. They tag Dolby On in their description to boost the credibility of their production quality. And we have educators, a lot of them in the media, art, and entertainment space using Dolby On for better education resources and to help their musical learning, to create a better curriculum for their musical teaching instructions. So lastly, I've talked a lot about the Dolby On app, but now it's the time to talk about magics behind Dolby On app, which is Dolby IO platform. So Dolby IO platform is a new business we just launched last year. It's a new business initiative aiming to provide developers around the world with easy to use API and SDKs. So developers themselves can start to build solution for different industry. It can be healthcare, it can be education, it can be social media, you name it. But in a nutshell, if you look at the arrow below, we are aiming to provide solution across this value chain. So take the education, the STEAM education, for example, from capture to playback, we're aiming to be that partner that help you to solve your problem. With capture, no matter it's pre-recorded lectures, or if you want to conduct live webinar or like a live tutorial, you'll be able to, like developers, they can leverage the Adobe resources to build an app or a software for you, so you can record your teaching instruction or your lecture in the best quality possible. And definitely we have a suite of tools that is enabling you to make quick and easy editing to your media content. After that, it's going to be post-processing and analysis. So this is a place where if you have already recorded lectures or content on another app or store in your local devices, you will be able to import those content to Dolby IO platform, and Dolby IO platform will be able to improve all of your content at scale. So you will be able to share all of those teaching resources or lectures to your student later on in the delivery and playback space. We also just launched a transcoding API, and it's in beta phase. So this API will be able to turn your media content to formats that are acceptable in all kinds of devices types or streaming platform. This way, no matter your student is using an iPhone, an Android device, or they only have a computer, they will still be able to accept your content and then start learning right away. Last but not the least, delivery and playback. We are partnering with a lot of industry partners. So the streaming options such as Vimeo is our latest partner, who will be able to provide this delivery process for the content ingested from our educators or other creators. And for the playback, we will be able to giving the highest quality playback with Dolby quality audio and video to ensure, for example, education outcomes. We all know that if there are some noise or some distraction in the remote education, the students will be easily distracted and stop learning. So Dolby IO is this platform that powers Dolby On app, but also aiming to provide developer with solutions so they can build apps and software that empower the future of education and so many other industries. That's all about the Dolby On app and the Dolby IO platform. I would really also want to hear about your stories. What motivated you to join today's California STEAM conference? And how would you want Dolby to help improve the way education works for the next generation of diverse creator? What technology of Dolby excites you the most? I would love to hear some story from the audience too.
And I'll be watching the chat to see if anyone's contributing there. We've got a thank you. Thanks, Janine. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, if people are feeling shy, we can definitely talk about, oh, here's a really great question. Thank you for putting that in there. Can you speak to student privacy with Dolby On?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our latest policy update is Dolby On will on no account store or try to access your content within the app. So any students, if they record, so we cannot control the content that students create or record. But one thing we can ensure is that the content recorded or shared via Dolby On are always protected in a way that is not going to be shared. Like our app will not be hacked by a third party, so people can access their recordings or content. So student privacy, we can guarantee that.
And George, just to confirm, so folks know, you can save or send the video and the clips via email, or like upload it to any other mobile app, usually directly from, or save it as a specific file, and then the student would have charge or ownership of the file from there, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yes, so there are multiple channels where you can send your content. You can just save it locally and transfer it to your students or teachers by email, by text, this kind of one-on-one kind of communication. You can also create, for example, a Facebook group or like a YouTube channel where you can ask them to share directly to that platform. So you have like a private group where you can configure and then you upload it to those platforms to ensure the privacy and protection of the content.
Great. Janine, thank you for your question. That's a really important one, especially throughout all the spaces of education that we're working with and speaking to today. So thank you. If other folks have any questions, please pop them in the chat. We have seen, like George said, a wide range of applications of this app. I think in our community partnerships, it's been really interesting. We started specifically 7 years ago in San Francisco, where we're headquartered, working with a few different high schools, particularly Burton High School and now Hilltop High School. And we are seeing a lot of students that we work with directly and their instructors use this for podcasting, recording music, recording spoken word and or some written pieces that perhaps they're exploring turning into a play or any type of performance. It can also be a really wonderful tool to record an initial audio file and then bring it into other places. So if you are focusing, depending on how advanced your studio space is at your school, you can bring in a really clean music file into a music mixing platform. So you're already, like George said, cutting out some of that noise and really almost advancing in your mixing process without having to do the labor of the noise reduction as part of the post-production process or the mixing process. Like he has also listed on the screen, many of the tools that we are using or we are seeing you all use with your students, particularly in music production, but I'd say across a wide range of the AME academies are already integrated with Dolby technology and can be supported by Dolby On and bringing these files in. So I think I've definitely seen Soundtrap. I've heard of that being used quite heavily, Logic Pro, Fruity Loops. All of our technologies are either integrated and or play well really closely with Blackmagic and Avid technologies. So again, I realize our audience is very broad today, but from what we've seen in the different schools that we've been to, but also knowing that many of you are either in the classroom with very entry-level devices, we designed this so that this would be a tool that would be accessible for many people, not only with no price point of $0, but also across all different platforms and all different devices. So our goal is that as we are able to capitalize on the cloud space and really work more closely with our partners in business, the end goals are that our technologies are becoming more democratized, more accessible, and ultimately impacting storytellers who historically have not had access to these technologies and can create those immersive experiences for the audience they intended. George, do you have other really interesting examples of some student products? Oh wait, I just saw that Pauline added another question before I go to that one. She asked, I've noticed many free apps work well for basic functions and then a fee is charged to use more advanced functions. Is that the case here? Funding is such a challenge for schools. And yes, this is a really good point because sometimes we'll download that app and then you're like, wow, this is non-functional. And sorry, Pauline, that should have been a anonymous question. So I apologize for calling you out, but it's a really good one. George, can you speak to that?
Absolutely. So the number one surprising, like people find it surprising that Dolby On is free. We have like user feedback or like app store review asking, wait, is it really free? Is it like an incomplete version of the app? Why are you not charging it? Like how can Dolby On folks make money or get their salary? That's a great question. We want to provide this we want to improve the accessibility so it's available for everyone, but definitely Dolby On is a proof of concept for help us to make real-time market research. From this perspective, Dolby On is, even though it's free, it brings a lot of value to our business internally. So I can guarantee it's going to be free, and it's going to be free in the foreseeable future. The way we capitalize on Dolby On is the user feedback. So whenever we introduce some new features into the app, we want to test out whether these technology are well received by the global and active audience. We have 3 million downloads. So those feedback are going to generate a lot of insights for Dolby internally, but for the consumer facing wise, it's completely free.
Exactly. And I would say that's really frequent across all of our technologies right now. The more user feedback specifically from artists and creatives, as well as the companies that we're working with to have these technologies accessible within their devices, the more user feedback we get, the more we can advance these technologies, and then artists and storytellers and media makers alike can have more immersive, more accessible technologies. And that's why we really think it's important for us to connect with a younger generation and really make sure, I say younger generation, meaning the students that we're all working with, but also we really value the teach the teacher model. So we think it's important to be here so that you can learn about these technologies, but also so that we hope to stay in touch with you all. If you have an interesting use case or question about Dolby's investments in K-12 STEM or additional resources in this recording audio space, mixing space, or even the developer space, perhaps you're somebody that's teaching more of the coding and or app design for students, we have technologies that are making the immersive entertainment aspect of media and content creation as immersive as possible. Clearly, I'm not the technical one over here, George is. But we really do want to hear from you, and we want to make sure that you feel that these resources are supportive and being designed to solve the problems that you're experiencing and to support the creative ideas that the students are coming up with. One way that we're doing that, and we're hoping to stay in touch with you all, we have created a new newsletter. It's called Dolby Spark, and it's a newsletter dedicated to providing industry resources and highlights for you, for the educators working with these students. We plan to send this quarterly as new relevant resources and updates become available. So I'm going to put a link in the chat for you to sign up for this newsletter. Our first episode, our first one will go out next week. So if you sign up on this link on the Smart Sheet in the coming days, we'll make sure that you receive that new draft. So we're very excited about that. Additionally, we will have spaces, we'll be sharing career resources. So not only opportunities at Dolby, mentioning our internships like George once was and has now become a full-time hire, but we will also be sharing different resume workshop resources, different employee stories about folks who are working at Dolby, but they have had to develop skills that we see as necessary for the next 5 to 10 to 15 generations in industry, or not generations, but years in industry. We know that many of the questions that you as educators get, not only from students, but also from parents, and many of you have them yourself, is what skills do students need to learn in order to get a job where you're at? Or what skills do they need to learn in order to become a sound mixer or a stagehand or any of the positions that they're really interested in asking about in the classroom? Our newsletter is designed to help answer these questions and talk about those skills of the future. So we'll have a student corner, a teacher corner, that skills of the future employee spotlight. And then we'll also be featuring new business updates from Dolby that are specific to your industry, arts, media, and entertainment, and education. So we're really excited to have the opportunity to share this with you on an ongoing basis. And then of course, with any questions that you ever have, or if you would like to stay in touch with us, George and I are accessible on LinkedIn. And we're also, I think, the nice thing about working at this company is that there's a lot of curious people. We want to make our products better, but we want to help solve problems. And that means helping to solve problems for a broader audience. So the more we stay in touch, the more that we're excited to learn from you as well. So with that, it looks like we also have our survey about the session linked in the chat. I also, what the link that I put above that is the newsletter sign up. One last resource, and this might be a little high level, but I think it's worthwhile to check it out. This is our Dolby Professionals page. And on the Dolby Professionals page, we have a lot of video tutorials, everything from mixing in Dolby Atmos to exploring color grading and understanding which technologies offer color grading in Dolby Vision. So that can make your students' picture look much more rich, and the colors match the intended vision of the creative. Some of you may have seen, and I realize this is a luxury device, but some of you may have seen the recent commercials for the new Apple 13 and the 13 Pro. We have our, the cinematic technology that they're talking about is a partnership between Dolby and Apple, and it showcases Dolby Atmos as well as Dolby Vision. And so these are ways in which we're working across industry to make sure that your creatives in the classroom or your creatives who are out and about in the world are having access to professional grade content creation technology. So we're very excited. These have been some really fun and new updates, and we hope that you find them applicable in the classroom. So thank you so much for attending today. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to staying in touch with you.